Crabwood is a protected area in the south of England that has been classified as a site of special scientific interest thanks to the species found here. This wood is an ancient woodland, which means it has existed for at least 500 years, during a time before humans began to plant woodlands, and so it represents a truly native habitat. Just 2.5% of the UK is made up of ancient woodland, so it's always exciting getting to visit one and see what species are growing there. Crabwood is particularly known for a range of plant species that support nationally rare invertebrates, like the purple emperor and white-letter hairstreak butterflies. Many of the plants covered in this video are considered ancient woodland indicators, which are species that take a long time to establish themselves and so can only be found in these older woodland areas. As we go through each species, keep your own count for how many of these species you've seen, and then let me know which ones you've yet to see in the comments below. The English oak tree, or Quercus robur, is a staple in British woodlands and has become a national emblem. It supports a range of species as well as historically having a range of uses by people. In Crabwood, the oak, ash, maple and hazel trees were all coppiced by local farmers, which is a traditional way of working with the land that allows trees to regrow. Coppicing creates habitats that were once particularly used by now rare species like various butterflies and hazel dormice. Like many ancient woodlands, Crabwood has evidence of boundary marks in the form of trees situated at the end of man-made banks. These boundaries often match up to ancient maps. The evidence of how old these woods are is all around. This old stem wrapped around a tree branch belongs to Honeysuckle, or Lonicera periclymenum. The wrapping motion warps the branch and has been used to create unique twisted walking sticks. Down on the ground is the unmistakable evidence of spring. Bluebells, or Hyacinthoides nonscripta, are one of those ancient woodland indicator species, and they blanket the floor of Crabwood at this time of year. Ancient folklore about bluebells is common, and it's said that if you pick a bluebell, you will be led astray by fairies and be forever lost. Over history, the plant has been used as ornaments, to make glue, and to aid in medicine. They're also highly valuable to early pollinators, like butterflies and bumblebees, which need to fuel up after a long winter. Another ancient woodland indicator covering the ground is the wood anemone, or Anemone nemorosa. This species is particularly valuable to hoverflies, and they play a key role in allowing it to spread through the wood. Clusters of wood spurge can also be seen throughout Crabwood. This is one of my favourite woodland flowers because the bright yellow flowers and the green leaves provide a vibrant, glowing appearance to the ground. This species is mainly found in southern England and it's rare elsewhere, so seeing so many in Crabwood was a great opportunity. Be careful though, the white sap it produces is toxic and has been used to poison arrows in the past. Bracken, or Pteridium aquilinum, can also be seen across Crabwood, along with a range of other ferns. Ferns reproduce by spores, so don't have seeds or flowers, but they're still a valuable part of the habitat. They provide cover for a variety of birds, mammals, amphibians and reptiles, as well as acting as a food plant source for many caterpillar species. Ferns are an ancient plant species and have existed for more than 50 million years, so they're right at home in an ancient woodland. Beech and yew trees are both also found within Crabwood. Beech, or Fagus sylvatica, is native to this part of the UK but has been planted in areas outside of the southeast of England. Only specialist shade-tolerant plants, like the ferns, can survive beneath the dense beech canopy. Yew, or Taxus baccata, can be identified by its lovely reddish and purple tones in the bark. It's also suspected to be the longest living tree species in northern Europe, with a life of up to 3,000 years. Several yew trees in the UK are more than 2,000 years old. All parts of this tree are poisonous, and some deaths have been linked to ingesting its leaves, so be careful if you're planning to touch a yew tree. Back down on the ground there are many flowers still to be seen, although none quite so numerous as the bluebells. Reaching across the ground are the newly emerging leaves of Pignut, or Conopodium majus. This species is more recognisable once its clusters of white flowers start reaching up from the ground around the end of May. Don't be fooled by the white flower that you can see. This is the Barren strawberry, or Potentilla sterilis, which produces 1 centimetre wide flowers low down to the ground. Wherever you look, there are more bright flower species. The lesser Celandine, or Ficaria verna, flowers until the end of April. The primrose, Primula vulgaris, flowers for a month longer than the lesser Celandine. In Irish folklore, this species protects people from fairies. When in a woodland, you should pay close attention to the less obvious species as well. You might mistake some flowering plants in Crabwood for grasses when they're actually rushes. The hairy woodrush, or Luzula pilosa, produces tiny flowers that change into little green seed capsules. Another flower you're likely to miss in an ancient woodland is an orchid. There are 52 species of wild orchid in Britain, and many of these are very rare with special protections on specific sites, so there aren't often many to be able to spot. This was my first time seeing the early purple orchid, or Orchis mascula. Although one of our more common orchids, it's much less abundant than it once was. A much more familiar plant to many is the dandelion, or Taraxacum officinale. Although often treated as a weed, this species grows in so many places that a lot of our native pollinators rely on it. Cow parsley, or Anthriscus sylvestris, is another commonly seen species. It particularly grows on road verges and woodland edges with metre-high white flower clusters. The white dead nettle, or Lamium album, is also often seen as a weed due to its similarity to stinging nettles. Both species are greatly beneficial to butterfly species, and white dead nettle in particular doesn't actually sting people. Wild garlic, or Allium ursinum, is also common, but is actually another ancient woodland indicator species. From April onwards, these flowers will begin to blanket woodlands, replacing bluebells with a sheen of white and a strong garlic scent. There are still more tree species to be found in crabwood. The goat willow, Salix caprea, lives for up to 300 years. It is the food choice for a variety of moths like sallow kitten, sallow clearwing, and lunar hornet clearwing. It's also the main food for the purple emperor butterfly, which is found in crabwood. Looking around, I was able to see even more flowers. The bugle, or Ajuga reptans, is another blue flower out at this time of year. Meanwhile, the common dog violet, or Viola riviniana, adds some more purple to the woodland floor. This species is named after its scent, or lack of scent, compared to the similar sweet violet, which has a sweet scent. One really interesting looking plant that you can spot at Crabwood, as well as in many other places across the UK, is the Lords and Ladies plant, or Arum maculatum. A short spike of tiny yellow flowers is surrounded by a large green casing. Eventually, this spike changes into a stalk of bright red berries, which, while toxic to us, are eaten by various birds. Another unique looking plant species is Solomon's seal, or Polygonatum multiflorum. This species has long arcing stems that curve over. White bell-shaped flowers hang from the undersides of these stems in rows. The final species in this video is the one crabwood is named for, the crabapple tree, or Malus sylvestris. The fruits of this tree are one of the ancestors of the modern apple that you can find in supermarkets. The beautiful flowers will develop into small yellowy-green fruits that are eaten by birds and mammals, or made into jelly by us. That was all 25 species I identified at Crabwood. Of course, there were many more plants there, as well as plenty of animals. How many of the species that I mentioned have you already seen? How many do you have left to see? Did you see any species in the video clips that I didn't mention in the video? Let me know all of your answers in the comments below. If you want to support me in continuing to create these free educational videos, then check out my new Patreon page. I have 5 different monthly support tiers to choose from, ranging from just £2 up to the higher tiers where you can vote for video topics, have your name credited at the end of each video, receive personalised art of any UK species, and get one-on-one consultation calls with me on any nature-related topic of your choice. Subscribe to Ferroforest to keep learning about UK nature.